All right, people. 1 second. Let me get set up here. All right. Let me adjust this a little more, and we'll get started. Okay. Hello to everyone who is joining. Welcome. All right. Folks. I hope first of all, I hope the lighting is decent in here. It's a little cloudy outside, and the lighting in this room isn't the best, but I hope it will do. All right, so again, welcome everyone. Welcome to the goodness. Is it already the 4th week of these Periscope sessions? Hello, little dove. This is the 4th session of my questions that I take about anything related to blindness or vision impairment. My name is Misty. I am, in fact, visually impaired myself. I have some remaining vision, but again, it's considered far beyond legal blindness, and I, because of that, identify as a blind person. So, if you have any questions about blindness or how certain things affect me particularly as a blind person, feel free to ask. I consider myself very well connected to the blind community, and so I think... I've logged into 93, watching you for the first time. Oh, okay, awesome. Yeah, I think that I'm pretty well connected to the blind community, and I'm pretty well informed about it. Last week I didn't seem to get a lot of questions, and if I did, I missed them. If I missed you last week, just go ahead and submit your question again this week. Questions are pretty well unlimited. If you've ever had any questions about blindness, just throw them at me, and I'll do my best to answer them. Just put them in the comments down there. I probably some folks are wondering how on earth I can read the comments. I actually talked about that briefly in the last couple broadcasts. Ciao. Like I said, talked about that in the last part. Some of you can probably hear that the comments, when they come in, you're hearing them being read aloud. My phone I have set so that it can read comments aloud. Hi. So that's how I read the comments, basically. But again, if you want to get more detail on that, listen to my previous Periscope broadcast. Obviously, they do get deleted from here 24 hours after they come through. But I do archive them on YouTube. I am under the same username on YouTube as I am here. So just go ahead and search that, and you'll be able to find all of the past Periscope sessions that I've done along these lines. Again, if you like this concept, go ahead and tweet about it, share it on here, heart it up. I want to get people interested in this topic. I want to get more folks listening, watching, and so that I can educate the sighted community about what it's like to be blind and about blindness issues. So definitely get that out there if you can. Talk to your friends about it, Facebook about it, tweet about it, all that good stuff. All right, and again, if you have any questions about blindness, just put them in the comment section. Whenever you have them, it doesn't matter what it is, as long as it's blindness related, go ahead and submit them, throw them my way, and I'll do my best to answer them. But in between now and then, I'm going to go ahead and kind of riff on a particular topic. I do this every week, kind of as a filler. Is your vision supposed to get worse? Okay, it's a more personal question, but I'm willing to answer it. Little dove, is my vision expected to get worse? Well, with the condition that I have, Leber's, it generally does. Although on occasion it does remain stable. Mine has gotten slightly worse over time, although it hasn't been anything major. It's, the decrease has been very gradual, and so I've been able to, it's not been like a shock. I've been able to adapt to it pretty easily. I read larger print now. I have to read white text on a black background to be able to read comfortably, whereas I used to be able to do black text on a white background. And my vision has gotten a little dimmer over time as well. But again, it's been very gradual, so it's not something I've had to, really have to adapt to quickly. I did have some blood vessels that burst in my eyes several years ago, and I thought I was going to lose a lot more vision, and so actually I started learning Braille, just in case I would lose a significant amount. And it's good to know that just in cases where I might need it. And if I do lose more of my vision in future, I already have Braille. But I traditionally read large print, very large print, about 5 times magnification. If folks have an idea what that looks like, I actually demonstrated the size of print I read in last week's Periscope session. Oh, sorry about that. There's notification coming in. So yeah. Anyway, yeah, any other questions out there? If anyone ever needs any clarification, just go ahead and ask, follow-ups even on those questions. If you need clarification, that'd be great. For some reason, I feel like I'm off my game today. I'm not as articulate or a little tired or something, so forgive me if I seem not so on the ball today. I'm not sure why. Anyway, yeah, maybe it's low pressure, the barometer, the cloudy weather. I've got to blame something, right? Right. So, anyway, any other questions on blindness, vision impairment? Any follow-ups to the question that was just asked? And also, if I miss you on the comments, I apologize. Sometimes my speech software, the way I have it set up, does some weird things with the comments, I think. So I will replay this after I get done here. And I'll make sure that I haven't missed any other questions. God, you are speaking too fast. Help. I didn't understand. Okay, I'll try to slow down, right. I've told, Christina, I've mentioned to you as well as others that I tend to speak rather quickly. If I need to slow down, let me know, Christina or anyone else, because, I tend to speak fast without knowing it a lot of times. And of course I'm speaking to a native English, mostly native English-speaking audience as far as I know, but even to them I sometimes talk a little quickly, so it's always nice to be reminded to slow down. Appreciate that. Right. So yeah, any other questions? Like I said, if I'm missing comments, I will look at my replay of this after I get done recording it now, live. And I'll make sure that I haven't missed anything, because on the replays it seems like I'm able to see all the comments, whereas when I am broadcasting live, for some reason sometimes they don't appear. So, but throw questions out there anyway. If I hit you up, if I answer your question this week, that's great, I'll do it, all that good stuff. But if I miss you this week, I will look at it later, I'll write the question down, and I will answer it next week. Can you cook without having to rely on sight? Okay, yeah. That's an interesting question. Can I cook without having to rely on sight? Now, I know many other blind people who do, and who can, and who do, right? But and there are a number of blind folks who consider cooking a hobby. Some of you might have seen, some sighted folks, particularly if you're into cooking stuff, you might have seen, I think it was Master Chef, a couple of years ago, I believe, where there was a blind contestant on there. I think I mentioned her last week, the week before as well, by the name of Christine Ha, and she competed well, and actually I think she won it that year. So, she actually kind of had some issues lacking confidence in herself on that series, but yeah, she was able to do that. There are a lot of blind people who consider it a hobby, and who are actually quite good at it and specialize in it. Actually, I know a deafblind young lady out in New Orleans, who makes cooking her hobby, does all kinds of exotic stuff. So, we can cook without sight. It's definitely doable. Some of us are just more skilled at it than others. I mean, as would be the case within the sighted community. Some of us just don't like to cook, myself included. Because, I'm just, cooking for one person at this point, and so, I don't want to spend like 30 and 40 minutes, an hour or more cooking if I'm just cooking for myself, right? So I usually just throw stuff in the microwave, not because I can't cook, but just because personal preference. I just don't have the desire, right? There actually is a cookbook out there. I think it's still in circulation. Braille cookbook. I think they also have it on CD. CD-ROM maybe still these days, but like flash drive or a file or something like that. The book is called Cooking Without Looking, I believe. And, it has adapted recipes for blind folks. I think they're more tactily based and things like this. Now, I haven't gotten it myself, so I haven't had personal experience with that book, but I I mean, that's how I understand it to be, anyway. So again, if I'm wrong on some of those points, let me know. But anyway, yeah, I think it's called Cooking Without Looking. There's also I think it's still going as well. There's also a PBS show under the same title. I think it's local though, but it's a PBS show that features rather blind chefs, cooks, if you will, and demonstrating how to do things without vision. But yeah, it's a TV show, isn't it? Yeah, it's on TV. Um, and there is also a radio program, believe it or not, cooking program on American Council of the Blind Radio, ACB Radio. If you Google that, that's called Cooking in the Dark. And again, you have blind cooks / chefs showing how to cook without sight. So yeah, it can be done. Little Dove asked another question while I was answering that one just now. What kind of cane do I use? Again, that's a little specialized for sighted folks. But just to be brief, I use a folding cane and a solid tip, not one that rolls. It's just more convenient, so I choose to use a folding cane. I guess that's what you're asking, Little Dove. If you weren't, just go ahead and clarify. Yeah, any other questions right now on blindness, vision impairment, particularly how I deal with it? Anything along those lines? I'm not sure what even my viewership is right now. Let's see. Hold on. I've still got 5 people. Awesome. Okay, I'm going to scroll back up. Okay, so any other questions? We definitely need to get more than 5 each week that stick around. Well, I guess I could say any suggestions as to how we can get people to stick around. Any thing I can do to maintain people's attention. Do you shop alone? Shopping, yeah. And I think different blind people do things differently depending on the amount of vision they have and the amount of experience they have navigating unfamiliar environments and familiar environments. But so I think the answer to that can vary. Do I shop alone? Usually what I do is I just go, I mean, I guess technically, but usually I'll go to the store and ask for assistance, searching for things and getting things from the store from someone that works there. And I think a lot of blind folks do that, as I understand. But again, I think it varies quite a bit. So, but that's just the way I approach shopping. So, anything else? Any other questions or any clarifications? Anything you want me to add or explain further? Any separate questions about blindness besides the ones you've heard now? Answered. And again, any suggestions about keeping attention and keeping interest in this? I find it interesting because I start out with quite a few viewers apparently, but then it drops precipitously. Do you shop alone? I think that already came through, I thought. Let me see. Do you shop alone? It seems like the same question came through. Okay. Any colors you can see? Colors, yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. Although, yeah, I can see all colors. But the thing is, I have a condition along with all the others that I have visually, a condition called color deficiency, which means I may see a dark blue as black, for instance, or a purple as a blue, or a pink as a red, or an orange as a pink, or something like that, right? So, hi again. So yeah, I can see color, but a lot of times the color is distorted for me. Again, that's just a personal thing. Have you played sports? That's just a personal thing. Not every blind person who can see color has color deficiency, obviously. Well, maybe not so obviously, but, not every blind person has color deficiency. And, of course, every blind person will have a different level of vision. Some people are totally blind, just black blind, can't see a thing. Some people can see light. Some people can see light color. Some people can see light color in some shapes. Some people can see, a little more than that. So, I mean, it's, again, quite varied. Blind does not always mean black blind, right? There are varying degrees of blindness and vision impairment. So, have you played sports? Okay, yeah. Right. Well, I'm not that athletic to begin with, so. As in. A beeper ball, etc. Okay. Read that strangely. Yeah, well, as I say, I'm not that athletic to begin with. So, and I have a heart issue, which makes endurance a little bit of a problem. Obviously, again, heart issue not related to the blindness in any way. It's not at all connected as far as I know, anyway. But, so I can't do a lot of endurance stuff. I did do track at, I actually attended a school for the blind, so they had adapted sports there, and I did do track there for a couple of years. I was basically pressured into it, I admit. And so I tortured myself for a couple of years. But I have done beep ball. I'm not that great at it, and I haven't done it a lot. Beep ball. Okay, so basically, folks, when we're talking about beep ball, how do I even explain it? Again, I haven't had a lot of experience with it, but it's basically a blindness-specific game, as I understand it, which uses balls that make sounds when they move toward you. So they have like bells in them or some kind of beeping thing that people can hear them coming, right? So again, there are probably others who would have a lot more experience than me with that, than I would with it. So yeah, and other sports. I mean, I've done your basic gym class, right? So, yeah. I'm trying to think of any other sports I've done, first of all, before I answer the next one. Yeah, I think that's about it, sports-wise. Like I said, I'm not at all cut out for sports. Descriptive TV. Yeah, okay, so, a lot of people probably wonder how blind people watch TV, or if they even do. Yes, we do. A lot of us will use either something called audio description, which I'll describe here shortly, or they will simply listen to the audio on the TV, the audio that's going on, and kind of derive their knowledge of what's going on from the audio. So they of course, people with full vision will use the visual, but we primarily use the audio. And of course, because we're a lot more aware of what's going on in our world in terms of hearing things, you can pick up quite a bit from the audio that's around you, a lot more than a lot of sighted people might think. So we can pick up quite a bit from the audio that we hear on a TV show, for instance, and be able to tell what's going on from that. Now, some of us will use what's called audio description, which is, I hate to use this comparison, but it's the best that most sighted people can relate to. That just came through. All right. Audio description is basically the blind equivalent of closed captioning, okay? Not exactly the best comparison, because closed captioning is basically just they type out the script of the audio, right, on the bottom of the screen. Audio description is actually, it's more a man-made process, right? People actually have to write a separate script to be able to describe the action that's going on the TV. So basically what it is there's a separate audio track. A lot of people, if you have an SAP button on your television, you can press that button and you get the secondary audio track. A lot of times you'll get Spanish. If you've ever pressed it before, you'll get a Spanish audio track. But in some cases, you'll get what's called audio description. And when you press that button, if audio description for a program is available, you're going to hear some person there in the background, if you will, describing what's going on visually on TV through audio. So you almost have to have an example to really understand it, I think. So, like, say you have the beginning of Star Trek, right? The logos, the very beginning of the show, when all the credits are going past. First of all, the audio describer will read the credits.
How do you feel about the stereotypes about blind?
Okay, I'll get to that in a minute. Yeah, so basically, you have someone, with the audio description, you have someone auditorily, an actual person, reading aloud on that secondary audio track the credits of the show. So, starring Patrick Stewart, for instance, Next Generation. They'll read that aloud. And also you will have a description of what's going on visually on the screen as well. So, someone might say a star field shoots by your view or something like that. So, and, what's another good example of that? It's hard to come up with stuff like that off the top of my head. Say you got a building and you're the camera is zooming in on that building. The audio describer will describe how that building looks, maybe how tall it is, what color it is, what the camera is going past, right? And it'll be on that secondary audio track. When you press it, you'll hear that description. You'll hear the person describing those things. Right, so I think that's hopefully clear as mud. Again, if anyone has any follow-up questions, let me know, and I'll try to do my best to clarify. All right, I'm trying to remember what Little Dove asked just now, the next question you asked. Could you post it again, because I'm blanking all of it. Oh, stereotypes, right. That's a really general question. That would take probably more than the time I have to answer it. I'll try to be as general as I can, though, with it. Stereotypes about blindness. A lot of them come from either misconceptions about blind people that are based on fallacious and erroneous notions that sighted people have, like, oh, because you're blind, you must be this, right? When that's may not necessarily be the case. Or they come from only a few blind people that a sighted person has seen in their life, like maybe a blind celebrity or something. Now, but others may derive, in fact, from some truth. There's stereotypes always have some truth. I don't care what anyone says. There's always some truth from which stereotypes derive. And again, maybe those stereotypes may derive from misunderstanding of that truth. But, they derive from truth to some extent, nevertheless. What's a good example? Okay, that all blind people wear sunglasses, right? Okay, a lot of people think all blind people wear sunglasses. Well, check this out. Obviously don't have sunglasses. Got regular glasses, but not sunglasses. Not all blind people wear sunglasses, but the notion that all blind people wear sunglasses comes from folks like Ray Charles, like Stevie Wonder, and like some blind people who do wear sunglasses for whatever reason. Either because they have some vision and the light is too bright for them, or they're trying to protect their eyes.
Do you get upset about them, or do you try and tolerate the ignorance?
Yeah, right, I'll get to that in a moment. So there are some blind people who wear sunglasses, but again, not all of them. But the perception is mainly derived from small examples, right? Small number of examples. So yeah.
TV guide notification. TV guide.
Okay. Right. Notifications coming in there. Do I get upset at stereotypes? Of course. I think that while a few of them are genuine, derive from genuine ignorance, a number of them, if not most, derive from one key notion. That blind people are maybe two notions. That blind people are either somehow inherently inferior to the sighted community, or that they are so completely alien that compared to the sighted community that anything is possible, right? And quite frankly, I think we all have some notion inherently within us of human dignity, okay, and that we are equal in dignity. And when people shirk that, or when people deny that, either consciously or unconsciously, of course, that does make me mad. It does. While I'm not going to hate on the person for it, I'm certainly going to be firm with them. I'm certainly going to say, hey, we want to be treated just like anyone else. Let's stop with these crazy notions about what we are or what we aren't, especially if they're based on some lack of dignity on the part of blind people. I'll be firm about it. Like I said, I'm not hating on the person for it at all, but there are some things that do need to be corrected with firmness, and I think many stereotypes that is the case with many stereotypes. This I think is kind of a controversial position, even within the blind community. There are those who are less, they would call some people within the blind community would call people like us perhaps militant, because we can be very firm about stuff, and then there's some that would, take a much more gentle, kind, soft approach to it. Hi again. I'm not sure why I'm getting questions and joins 2 and 3 times. I'm not sure if people are actually typing them twice and 3 times, or joining twice and 3 times, or if it's a glitch on the part of my Periscope or VoiceOver, or a combination of the two. Anyway, so my apologies if I'm, reading comments 2 and 3 times. Yeah, anyway, so, yeah, there are some that are more passive about responding to certain stereotypes that like, of the type that I've just mentioned. But there are others like myself who think that that there should be a firmer response to them.
Have you traveled much internationally as a blind person?
Right. No. I have barely traveled outside this state. I was just asked whether I'd traveled much as a blind person. I don't know if folks could hear that. I try to repeat questions because the comments don't show up when I archive this on Periscope. So anyway, no, I've never traveled outside the country. Oh, okay. Oh, that's peculiar. All right, hope the audio didn't disappear for everyone else. Oh, okay. Christina, yeah. So I think the issue with that actually is that sometimes the connection is lost on your end for whatever reason, and so you lose your audio. It's not anything on my end. I don't know if you already are aware of that, but some people think it's something to do with the actual broadcaster's stream, but it usually isn't. It's probably on your end. So yeah, if you lose audio for more than a few minutes at most, yeah, like you said, just exit out and then join back in. Right, so international travel. I would love like heck to get over to Greece and Rome because of that being my specialty. Would absolutely love it. But I just haven't had the opportunity yet for various reasons. I don't think though right now with my own personal current travel experience that I would go totally on my own. I would almost certainly have someone with me. And again, this is just this has to do with my personal experience. I just haven't traveled a lot on my own in terms of, especially outside of the state and outside of the country. So I just don't trust myself at this point. I mean, maybe I could. I don't know. I mean, I'm pretty resourceful, so perhaps I could. But I think initially, just, because I'm a cautious person, I might not, necessarily travel, certainly not overseas. Also just because of the fact I haven't traveled on my own before generally, and I'm probably rather ignorant about it. Even if I had full vision, there would be some ignorance about traveling overseas already, and going over there with limited vision would probably just add to the risk. So no, I probably wouldn't travel on my own, and I haven't at this point, certainly not overseas, though I would like to. Now, I have read stories in the past of a number of blind travelers who have gone around the world, to other countries and even around the world, being blind. I'm trying to think of some books off the top of my head, but look up blind world travelers, you're probably able to find something. I can't, I can't think of the title of the books I'm thinking of right off the top of my head. There's actually one, I think, written by a guy that traveled around the world blind independently in the 1800s. But again, titles are escaping me. Guide dogs. I just got asked whether I would want a guide dog. I mean, there are advantages to having a guide dog versus a cane. Right now, for those who don't know, I do use a white cane. I guess I just mentioned that earlier, right? I apologize, I forgot I mentioned it earlier. So yeah, dogs, there are advantages and disadvantages. I mean, they can offer some added degree of protection. That's certainly one advantage. But disadvantage for me is just the time that I would have to take to care for a dog. I would like to spend my time on other things, and I think I've gotten along well enough with a cane overall. So, no, I probably won't consider a guide dog anytime in the near future. That could change, who knows. But, just caring for a dog and all that there's just too much time involved in it. And also, a lesser disadvantage, I guess you could say, is certainly among the sighted community. Most of the time when a sighted person walks up to someone with a guide dog, the first thing they do is go notice the guide dog. Oh, can I pet him or her? And they don't pay enough attention to the blind person, right? It's all about the dog and not about the person. So,
How do you identify money?
So, right. So yeah, I'm probably going to stick with the white cane for those and other reasons. Money, how do I identify it? I do have enough vision to see the really large number on one side of the paper currency, and so I usually use that. If I'm in too dark of an environment to see it, I just throw on my iPhone flashlight, which I usually have with me. So yeah, I have enough vision to see the large number on the currency, and for non-paper currency, for coinage, I identify what denomination it is based on the size of the coin, and also based on the how the side of the coin feels, whether it's rough or smooth, right? Here in the U.S., paper currency, there's no difference in size. There is with coinage, but not with paper currency for any international viewers. So you basically are left with either visually identifying it or having someone else help you sort it into different compartments in a purse or whatnot so that you can keep things straight, making sure you keep the right denominations in the right compartments. But there recently, there's been some technology that's come out where a blind person can scan a particular denomination of paper currency, and that piece of technology will identify what denomination it is. Now, I don't know how accurate they are. I've never actually, again, had the need to use one personally. But technology is definitely out there. So, I mean, it depends on your own level of vision, what you prefer, what's best for you, what's quickest for you, and most efficient. Again, it's very case dependent. But I myself can see as I say, the number on one side, and so I usually just use that. Again, for those of you who are not in the United States who may be watching, that was actually a relatively recent innovation, the making one number larger and darker than the other ones and more high contrast. That number only appears on one corner of the bill, and it's in kind of an odd corner of the dollar bill. Ooh, thank you for inviting people. Okay, yeah, ideal. I think it's ideal currency identifier. My speech thing didn't read it, and it went away too quick for me to spell it out. Yeah, there are a number of them out there on the market, both apps and standalone devices, standalone pieces of technology. But yeah, like I said, in the U.S. the paper currency does have one side of it, one corner that has a very large and a darker number, higher contrast number to it. For people with low vision, although they still, as far as I know, haven't done anything for people who are totally blind. And, blind people in this country have been honestly complaining about that for many, many years now. And I think the is it the Mint or some government agency that recently came out with a recent, hold on. Oh, it's just sharing. Awesome. Thank you for sharing, Cristina. Grazie. Yes, where was I going with that? Sorry, I was interrupted there. Also thinking in another language, so, but yeah, they haven't done anything for totally blind people. And blind people have been complaining about it for years, but not much has been done. I think, though, that the U.S. Mint or some government agency, Treasury maybe, has released its own currency identifier, and I think that blind people with certain qualifications can get it for free. Am I right, Flautista? Am I right, Little Dove? Oh wait, I don't. Oh wait, yeah, I do know Braille. I mentioned that earlier, but I primarily use large print. And as I mentioned earlier, I use about 5 times magnification, high contrast, white text, black background is usually best for me. And again, I demonstrated what that looks like on the last Periscope session. Yes, that's correct. Okay. Yeah, that is correct about the currency identifier in the government. And again, if you want to look up some of these resources that I mentioned, just Google them. Google blindness currency identifier, blindness money identifier, something like that. I'm sure you'll be, if you're resourceful, you'll be able to find what I'm talking about. If you are blind or know someone who is, who might be able to benefit from these resources. And so yeah, I definitely feel free to check those out. Right. So now where was I going? Terrible at going off on tangents, right? What was that Little Dove you just asked? I think you just asked another question. You put that back up there if you would. I'm not seeing it, unless you're just now typing it. I know it takes longer to type using VoiceOver. But anyway, while I'm waiting, any other questions you have blindness related? Or about anything I've said so far? Or, something entirely different. Yeah, I'm open for anything. Any other questions? Flautista, are you still out there? All right. Hold on, let me see what time it is. I'm going to put this down for a second so you'll just see like a blank thing. Hold on one second. Check the time on my screen here. Okay. Oh, it's already past 6 o'clock. Nice. All right. So I've gone over half an hour. That's kind of what I try to target. So I really didn't have to. Hold on.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, it sounds like the same thing just came in again. By the way, when I had my phone put down, I wasn't looking at the comments, so if I missed anything, please put it out there again. All right, so I think we pretty much covered everything, and I really didn't even have to go to my filler topic that I usually do because I spent most of the time answering questions.
No others.
Okay. Excellent. All right, so I'm going to take a final call for any other questions you have about blindness, vision impairment, about how it affects me, or about if you have any follow-ups about anything I've talked about today. Again, my apologies if I talk too quickly. Just let me know if I'm going too fast. That's something I've always had to work on in front of people, because my brain seems to go faster than my mouth, and so I really have to watch that. I really have to be careful of it. So yeah, final call for questions, and as I always mention, by the way, you can put questions in even if I'm talking now, right? But as I always say, after I finish these live broadcasts and all that, usually sometime later tonight or tomorrow, I will put, if I'm good about it anyway, I will put my Periscope sessions from the previous day, or from that day, on YouTube. So anyone can check it out and watch it there if they missed it now, or if they end up missing for whatever reason sometime the 24-hour window that this stuff stays on Periscope. Check it out on YouTube. As I said earlier, I'm at the same username on YouTube as I am here, so just search Aurora Nebulosa and find archive videos there. I have archived the videos since I began doing this 4 weeks ago. So yeah, I'm going to check out my viewer count. Now, if my viewer count, either gets lower or continues to stay low, I may not continue with this. So this is really going to depend on the user interest. So folks, again, continue to heart this, to share it, to promote it. I think this is a good cause. Certainly blind people who are watching, it's a good cause. We need to educate the general public about vision impairment from ourselves, instead of people speaking for us. We need to let people realize that we're active participants in society, that we don't sit around passively and have things done for us necessarily. We are out there educating people ourselves. It also helps to have, it gives sighted people more confidence when they ask blind people about their own situations, because, after all, we know our situations best, right? It also helps sighted people to realize that, yes, they can interact with us, and, and I think it helps them to not be so scared about us, and that we're human like anyone else, and that they can interact with us like anyone else. So this is a great cause, folks. Let's continue to promote it. Let's continue to share this. I'm certainly not proprietary about these Periscope sessions. If any other blind person wants to do this kind of thing, feel free to do it. Like I said, it's not, it's not about me. It's not about self-promotion.
Good job.
Thank you much, little dove. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's about the cause. It's not about me. So, yeah, let's get it out there. Let's get this big, okay? Let's get this huge. So anyway, as I said, I think we pretty well covered all the questions tonight, and it's already been past a half hour. And then again, that's what I usually like to target. Don't want to, take up too much of your time in the evenings. I know people are busy and they have a lot to do. So, and also, again, if there are any visual issues with this, if the lighting is crap, or if there's something wrong visually, let me know, and I will try to change it in the future. Anything like that. And also, if you have any ideas as to how to make this more popular and how to keep people's attention and all that, that would be great as well. So yeah, I think I will bid everyone adieu, and I will hopefully be back same time next week, same bat time, same bat channel, Thursday nights, 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time, right here, right now, on Periscope. Thanks, guys, for watching, and I will talk with you all later. Bye, guys.
Stop broadcast. Stop broadcast.